Hey, what's up, everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be going over the 200-meter women's final. This is a great race, something that I think we all were excited for, both the men and the women. If you're watching this, you probably already watched the men's breakdown, and now you can go ahead and click above here and check that out. But here we had Shericka Jackson. Really not a surprise here, right? I mean, it would have been very interesting to see, or would have been cool from an American perspective to be able to see Gabby Thomas or Sha'Carri Richardson win. Definitely would be cool to see Sha'Carri Richardson just because of what she was able to accomplish in the 100 meter. But at the end of the day, we knew that Shericka Jackson is the best in the world, and I still think she probably has the best top speed in the world. I think it'd be interesting to be able to debate that and see exactly who is the fastest. But I think when it comes to her top speed, she reaches the highest top speed. Sha'Carri, over a period of time, may be able to catch her, within a 40, maybe 50 meter time period, might be able to catch her. But at the end of the day, you could see Shericka Jackson. I mean, she came around that curve so nicely and really separated herself really well and ended up running just an absolutely amazing time. What did it officially end up being? 21:41. Just an amazing time there. I thought it was really cool that at the end of it, we got to see Sha'Carri Richardson seem very happy for Shericka. A lot of times when you watch at the end of the races, you could tell like some of the girls are kind of passive aggressive, like, oh yeah, I'm glad you won, congratulations, but really not too excited for you. So cool to see the excitement there that you had. Obviously, two U.S. sprinters coming in second and third was awesome as well. Overall, pretty good start. Sha'Carri Richardson can definitely improve within her start. This is a good opportunity to be able to see that. I know this is going to be a different start in the 200 in comparison to the 100, but this should be an area based off of her height where she could really excel at. And one of the things it seems like she does is she just gets stuck a little bit with her foot back behind. Especially if we watch to see, or when we watch to see Noah Lyles and what he does, and even Gabby Thomas here, she does a really good job of getting her legs out in front, especially for her height and how long her legs are. Shericka Jackson obviously does a great job too. She's really high pretty early with her foot, and I mean, Shericka Jackson, you could just tell it's her type of race. Like she gets out in front pretty good, catches up on the girls on the end. And these ended up being like the big question was like, could she beat these two were the big question, right? Because Shericka Jackson, everyone kind of knew that she was going to end up being she was the big favorite. She was able to come around the curve really effectively, caught everybody pretty easily there. And then now from this point, she just took off, right? Really just started to open up and was able to rely on what she does best, right? And this is what we were talking about with the 100 meters. Like, this is what she should be doing in the last 30 to 40 meters, is really opening up and getting into her stride and finishing strong. Look at how she starts to just separate from everybody here. Look at how much ground she's picking up, how effectively she's moving her arms, how nice and loose she looks, where when she's running the 100, she looks kind of tight. She looks like she's like limited a little bit. And we start to see Gabby Thomas and Shericka Jackson try to catch her there at the end, right? You could see, especially Gabby Thomas, she really tried to like open up her stride and be able to catch her. But I mean, look at all of these runners, how good of a job they do of being able to get their legs up and through. I think Gabby Thomas is getting a little bit stuck with her foot back behind her here, trying to lean forward a little bit too much. It'd be nice for her, or what I would recommend for her to do, is to be able to rely more on the lift and her height and how she's striking the ground, instead of where she looks like she's leaning forward and really trying to push a lot. Therefore, she's taking some of her height away from it. She's kind of landing a little bit too short, right? We'd like to be able to see much more lift through the hips, much more lift through arm swing. Could allow her to get a lot more upright within the run, much like what we see with Sha'Carri here, where she does a really good job of being able to really open up within that stride, does a great job of pulling back within the foot, lands and has great foot contact time. And then we could see even at the end, Sha'Carri Richardson does a good job of almost coming back and being able to get Gabby Thomas. Really good race, very entertaining to see everything leading up to it. So definitely a big question, because Sha'Carri Richardson was a little bit of a question mark if she was going to be able to even win the 100. So the fact that she won the 100 kind of surprised a lot of people. And I definitely wouldn't have been somebody that said like, oh yeah, she's definitely going to win the 100. I wasn't, like overly like, oh wow, I can't believe that happened. It was just kind of like, okay, great. Like, she looked really good in all the heats and semifinals, finals. Obviously, she looked really good there as well. And so when she won it, it was like, she's done all the work. She made it so she could win the 100, similar to Shericka Jackson here. Wasn't surprised at all by this finish. I think that she kind of separated herself a little bit more in the 200. So I think it was a little more obvious that this was going to end up happening. And she also has a lot more of the, I think biologically she's set up a lot better, right? Gabby Thomas and Shericka Jackson are both similar height, similar anatomically, and that's why they are able to excel a little bit more at these longer races, where Sha'Carri Richardson's a little bit more set up for the short distance runs, right? So yeah, I mean, excellent job opening up here. Just has great mechanics, right? It gets high within that left arm, creates a lot of pull within that right leg, left arm. We talked about this with Noah Lyles too. You need to have that great shoulder range of motion. And I'll just go talk about the same thing with the women perspective. I mean, if you think that you're going to end up as a woman just having these mechanics looking like her when she's running, you're going to end up actually probably making yourself worse, right? Like, especially if you're 16, 17 years old, like as a 16, 17-year-old, you're really not even supposed to be running like this. This is going to take a long time because it takes a lot of development. You have to get the right strength. You have to be able to build up your hip flexors. You have to build up the core, the hamstrings. You have to get the body all set up. You have to get the right timing within the body. All that comes into play when it comes to being able to run these types of times, be a world champion. And so really just being able to get down the fundamentals, landing on the right part of your foot, right? And making it so when you land, you could transition off the ground really well. When you transition off the ground, being very effective at being able to bend within the knee, get the heel to come right up and through, and then get a great reach with the foot out in front. Okay, once you start getting better at being able to get that reach and being able to sustain that for a long period of time, then we could start to be able to get more of the extension and that horizontal force and horizontal pull and be able to maintain that for a long period of time. I mean, again, what she's able to do, being able to run as fast as she is running for as long as she's running, is a extremely, extremely impressive feat, something that you can't just do, casually. It's something that you have to build over a period of time. So, just try to take small, consistent steps and getting a little bit better within the mechanics. And I think over a longer period of time, you'll end up starting to be able to run more like her. But to be able to just run like this at 16, 17 isn't something I would say should even be a goal. It would be, work on being able to have a consistent running mechanics, right? So when you get to maybe your last 60 meters of a 200 or the last 40 meters of a 100 or the last 100 meters of a 400, that you look very consistent at all your races. You're not doing a bunch of inefficient movement with your head, with your spine, with your arms. Everything looks very professional, looks very locked in. And once you could start to do that, and you start to do that for 3, 4, 5 races or a whole season, now we could really start to get into the specifics of the mechanics. But for right now, I would say focus on consistency and making it so you can understand what it takes from a strategy perspective to be able to run those races when it comes to the start, the drive phase, the top end speed, and being able to hold your top end speed and being able to stay healthy through a whole season. All those things should be the focus. And then that's when we can get really specific into the small adjustments that can be made from a strategy perspective to help you out. So again, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, you can leave those down below. Check out some of the things we have on our YouTube with a lot of things to help you out within your running mechanics, your running form. We also have a lot of programs on our website. So all that's available for you. Like the video, subscribe. Thanks for watching as always, and we'll talk to you soon.